Hey guys, welcome back to another sports stuff video. Today, we're going to be talking about the Los Angeles Rams and the offseason plan I have laid out for them. So if you guys do enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe, hit the notification to be notified when I post next. Let's get into this video. The LA Rams, obviously they just made the playoffs in a year that I don't think they were going to make the playoffs. They exceeded expectations. They drafted Offensive Rookie of the Year, Puka Nacua. They got Kyron Williams, in a career year. Can they continue this domination? Let's see what they can do. So with the re-signings, they have $28 million in money to re-sign their players before any cuts or trades. And the very first re-sign I'm going to be doing is Kevin Dotson. He had an 85 PFF grade, 68 pass blocking, 89 run blocking grade this past season with 2 penalties and 4 sacks allowed. He was a huge reason for Kyron's success. Him at guard has really proved to work out for him. Obviously, he started his career in Pittsburgh, came to the Rams, flourished. So I don't see why would the Rams not re-sign Kevin Dotson. He was one of the better guards in the NFL this past year. He proved worthy of a big contract, and post his Pitt trade, he's been great. So I gave him a 3-year, $57.5 million deal, $31.5 million guaranteed. That is 55% of it guaranteed. If you can just continue this dominance with Kyron Williams, you're going to keep going to the postseason, and I think that the money is going to prove worthwhile once you get consecutive years of this out of Kevin Dotson. Again, he was a big reason why Kyron succeeded. And I think if you can keep this run game going, that's why you're going to keep winning games, not necessarily through the passing game, as Matt Stafford ages. Next, you have Michael Hoyt. I couldn't work out a trade with him, so he did have an ERFA tender available, but he had 44 tackles, 6 sacks, a forced fumble, and 28 stops. And over the last 2 years, he's had 11 sacks next to Aaron Donald. He's a restricted free agent, so we can tender him with a second-round RFA tender. That means that if anyone wants to sign Michael Hoyt, not only do you have to give him a contract, you have to send the Rams a second-round pick. And I think, if you let Michael Hoyt walk in free agency, the best you're going to get is a third-round comp pick. And I don't see that happening. And not only did he play great for you, he's been playing great. So why not leverage a second-round pick, which would be better than any comp pick you can get. A compensatory pick, a compensatory pick you could get. So you leverage that, and you have to give him another contract. Nah. And if someone does sign him, you get a second-round pick. I think that's really worth it for Michael Hoyt. Again, I don't think he's worth a second-round pick, but I think he's worth another, a deal or a contract. So I didn't want to sign him to an extension because I want to see him another year with Kobe Turner and Aaron Donald. What can Michael Hoyt do? Can he continue this run that he's had? Is this truly what we're going to see out of Michael Hoyt? I really do think that if he can get another year under his belt, we can give him a multi-year contract next season. Then we're going to re-sign Jordan Fuller as well. He was originally, I believe, a 7th-round pick from the Rams, has developed into a quality starter and a captain for this defense. He had 72 tackles, 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and 17 stops this past season. He was a great draft pick from the Rams. Again, another one of those 6th, 7th-round picks that end up working. Les Snead is one of the better late-round draft pick guys. He's been a contributor since year 1. He's a solid, steady starter for them. They can rely on every year. So I'm going to give him a 3-year, $38.5 million deal with $20 million guaranteed. That is 53%. I would like to see him develop even more. I think he could definitely do a little bit more when it comes to run defending. But in coverage, he's he's a really good safety, really something you can rely on. Again, 3 interceptions, 3 forced fumbles, and 72 tackles. You can definitely go with that. But if he can get somewhere around 25 to 28 run stops, be more prominent in the run defense, that's something I'd like to see from Jordan Fuller. And then we can probably rework this contract, give him more guaranteed money in a longer-term deal. Then we have our cuts and trades. We have $6 million, $6.5 million pre all the cuts and trades we're going to do. But the first one we're going to be doing is Joe Noteboom. He had a 53 PFF grade, 52 pass blocking, 50 run blocking, a penalty, and 4 sacks allowed. He was probably one of the weaker links on his offensive line, so we're going to move off of him. He got signed to a mega contract after that Super Bowl. He never lived up to the contract that we signed him to. We can get an asset in return for Joe Noteboom, and we can find someone who can outperform him for cheaper, and you can save $15 million either cutting or trade him post June 1st. I'm gonna end up trading him to the Green Bay Packers. David Bakhtiari, is he ever going to play football again? So I think they can get Joe Noteboom, a veteran left tackle who has shown that he can be dominant enough to get a long-term extension from a team. It has had 2 back-to-back bad years. So you're going to buy low, hope you can win that trade in a year from now. You're going to trade a 5th-round pick this season for Joe Noteboom. Maybe the Rams have to cover part of his salary, but we'll get him off the team and say we're going to move on. Joe, good luck in Green Bay. The next cut we're going to do is Brian Allen. He did not play in 2023 really due to injury and just bad play overall as well. He lost his starting job due to injuries and never got it back. You can't rely on health. He's been injured 2 of the last 3 years. He saved $7 million cutting him, and I don't think anyone's going to trade for this contract. He's 29 years old. He's not one of the best centers in football. I don't think anyone's going to trade anything for him, so say cut him and save $7 million. Then his replacement, Coleman Shelton, we're also going to be cutting. 65 PFF grade, 49 pass blocking, 73 run blocking, 6 penalties, 2 sacks allowed. He was decent in run blocking, but he took over for Brian Allen. You can't rely on a 29-year-old to get any better, and his team has to get younger and better at these kind of positions that spend a lot of money at that position. He saved $4 million cutting him. You can find someone better in the draft and free agency, and that's exactly what we did. So the restructures, again, with restructures, when I do restructures, is this player going to be on the team 2 years from now? And Matt Stafford, Aaron Donald, Cooper Kupp, and Rob Havenstein, to me, are lifers for the Rams. So they could go 8 years from now, and I'm still going to keep restructuring their contract because they're all aged veterans who aren't going to be around for another 5-6 years. So we're going to keep restructuring their contracts until they retire. Then their money is completely off the books. We say $54.5 million. That's ideal. You're now going to free agency with $90 million in cap space. And the first sign we're going to be doing is Connor Williams. Sign one of the best centers in football who ends up being a free agent. He has an 87 PFF grade, 72 pass blocking, 91 run blocking, 7 penalties, and a sack. He's elite at exactly what you are. This is one of the most dominant run offense teams in the league. And the games where their run game wasn't really going, they didn't win the game. Like their offense sputtered. You know, they relied too heavily on Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp to make a big play. When they go running the ball, they're dominant. They have control of time of possession. They control the game in their own hands. I think that's exactly what we need to keep going with. He will improve the running lanes for Kyren Williams and Raheem Mostert and Kyren Williams are not as different as many people think. And I think Raheem Mostert had a career year behind Connor Williams and Robert Hunt and Isaiah Wynn and the other Austin Jackson, Teron Armstead. So why not get the more dominant, younger piece of that offense and Connor Williams to snap the ball from the next 4 years? So they gave him a 4-year, $68 million deal, $44 million guaranteed, and that is 65% of his contract being guaranteed. If you can get Connor Williams, that would be a slam dunk of a signing. Then, to add insult to injury, we're going to also grab Tyron Smith from the Dallas Cowboys. Tyron had an 84 PFF grade, 87 pass blocking, 71 run blocking, 3 penalties, and 1 sack allowed. He's still a really good tackle at 33. I think that they're not going to re-sign Tyron Smith, though, the Dallas Cowboys. They drafted his replacement last year, and he just ended up playing left guard because Tyron Smith stayed healthy. Cowboys don't have a lot of cap space. These are the type of moves that they're going to have to let happen. You let the aged veterans walk. You let the aged veterans retire. You don't sign the big contracts past their prime. They've got to start doing that because you have Dak Prescott under a massive contract. CeeDee Lamb's going to have to get a massive contract. Micah Parsons is going to have to get a massive contract. Trey Diggs is going to have to get a massive contract. So I think Tyron Smith is going to be one of those guys like Ezekiel Elliott who are the casualty of that money. He's going to cap off this elite O-line on his belt. You're now going to have Rob Havenstein, Tyron Smith, Connor Williams, Kevin Dotson, and is it Austin Corbett? I think Austin Corbett left. I believe he left Los Angeles Rams. Who's their other guard? I can't remember. Steve Avila, the rookie. Yep, Steve Avila. But yeah, Tyron Smith will play left tackle, obviously. You have Rob Havenstein at right tackle. Kevin Dotson. Then I'm going to have Connor Williams and Steve Avila, the rookie, at left guard, who played really good this year for a rookie. But I gave him a 1-year, $10 million deal, basically. Fully guaranteed the 1-year deal to bring him over. I think this makes a lot of sense. You know, Tyron Smith is one of the better pass blockers in the league. You then have a really good run blockers at the rest of the offensive line. And your two tackles are good pass blockers. I think this makes a lot of sense for the Rams, who, in their opinion, think they can win right now. They took a year off, basically, I'll say, due to injuries. They took a year off. Got really good draft picks, drafted really well. They drafted Offensive Rookie of the Year. You got a really good running back on a cheap deal. This defense is up and coming, who are very young. Got a lot of young guys on rookie contracts outside of Aaron Donald. Let's double down on this offense, solidify this offensive line as a top 5 unit, and keep going. Then I'm going to be signing Zach Cunningham to help out the defense. So he had 66 tackles and 35 stops with the Eagles this year. He's a solid coverage linebacker and a really good run defender. I'm shocked this guy was out of the league to then becoming one of the better Eagles linebackers on the team. He's going to fit really well next to Ernest Jones. He's going to cheap. He's going to overperform his contract. I think you can still draft and develop a linebacker behind Zach Cunningham. And you can even give Zach Cunningham a bigger deal in multiple year. I still think it'd be a really good deal for them. But Zach Cunningham 1 year for 4. We're basically taking what's the word? We're taking advantage of the $90 million. We're getting free agents that we wouldn't normally sign. Like, I wouldn't have gone for Tyron Smith. I wouldn't have gone for Connor Williams. But because we open up that $90 million, we can front load their contracts, get these guys on 1-year deals that otherwise we wouldn't get. I think Zach Cunningham is one of those guys that you're going to be fortunate enough to get because of the $90 million. Another guy is going to be Terrell Edmonds. I think that's Jordan Fuller needs a running mate at safety. I think Terrell Edmonds would be a really good guy for that. He had 34 tackles and interception, 2 sacks, and 10 stops this past season with the Eagles and with the Tennessee Titans. He had a bounce back year. I think a lot of people were down on Terrell Edmonds. He might have been out of the league if he didn't have a really good year. And he had a pretty good year. I think he's definitely worthy of an NFL spot. Wow. He's worthy of an NFL spot. He can come in and start for you day one. You can earn a multi-year deal with great defense. If he proves that he's a better defender than his reputation is, you can either sign him next offseason, do an extension, or you let him walk, you get a comp pick. You're in need of a young free safety. You have Jordan Fuller holding down strong safety. We just re-signed. I think Terrell Edmonds can come in, play that free safety role. I wouldn't say he was playing bad with the Eagles. I think they just wanted to improve and get a veteran like Kevin Byard. And when the opportunity opened itself up, Kevin Byard was at the time better than Terrell Edmonds. But I think Terrell Edmonds is still worthy of being a starter in the NFL. And especially over the guy you have right now. And like I said, with that $90 million we opened up, we're going to splurge one last time on a premier player in L'Jarius Sneed. All-Pro, Pro Bowl cornerback L'Jarius Sneed. He had 65 tackles, 2 interceptions, 23 stops, not to mention 2 Super Bowl rings in his career so far. Maybe even 3. When was L'Jarius Sneed drafted? I think he might have been a part of L'Jarius Sneed. I think he has 3 Super Bowl rings now. Because he was drafted in 2020. Rings. Oh, he only has 2 then. He only has 2. Yeah, because he got drafted the year in 2020, and they won in 2020. Yeah, so he has 2 Super Bowl rings. That's awesome. Bring that to this defense, which Aaron Donald already has 1. He's a top 3 cornerback in the league the last 2 years. It's gonna be hard to get him from Kansas City. I think there's a really big chance that they might let him walk because of how good Trey McDuffie's been playing, and maybe they want to sign L'Jarius and Trey McDuffie in the future. Maybe they just want to sign one of these guys. And Trey McDuffie, he has a 5th-year option on him, so maybe they can somehow work out signing both of them. But I think it's gonna be really hard to get him from Kansas City. But that's why I think you can get him though. I think you can snag him away. I think if he goes to an NFC team, that'd be really good because then he doesn't have to face the Chiefs until the Super Bowl. I think that is something that a lot of free agents need to think about is what team am I choosing? Do I have the best chance to continue winning championships? I think L'Jarius Sneed is going to think like, man, Kansas City, they continue to draft and develop really well. Let me go to the NFC, where it's a little easier to win a championship, to at least get to the Super Bowl. I think to get record money this year. So in that fashion, I gave him a 5-year, $105 million deal, $81 million guaranteed. That is 77% guaranteed, and record money for a corner. I believe $103 million was the record by Denzel Ward and Jalen Ramsey. L'Jarius Sneed just eclipses it by $2 million. Again, I think he's a top 3 corner. I think you can make the arguments for the best corner in the league, but I still would hold that for different guys. But he's at minimum number 3. Like, this guy is a premier corner, a premier defense. I think that if the Rams can snag him away, this defense takes another step. And I think they would easily be the favorites in the NFC West. Yes, the 49ers are still there, but having L'Jarius Sneed, having Aaron Donald, and all those young guys around them, I think that's going to be really good for the future of the Rams. Yeah, L'Jarius Sneed, 5-year deal, makes too much sense. Then going into the draft, we have $26 million in cap space. I could have kept doing these slides of showing you guys I would sign and why. But I'm just to say, we're going to go into the draft. They can continue to add guys around this offense. I think another wide receiver makes sense. I think another tight end makes sense. I think another linebacker or defensive lineman makes sense. But I'm going to address all that in the draft. So I decided not to really do that. Because in the draft, all those things that I just said got mentioned. So I picked 19. I did grab Jared Verse. In my opinion, he's probably the number 2 pass rusher in this class. He's a premier pass rusher next to Aaron Donald. That would be electric to watch. He was the biggest piece of this FSU defense this past season. And he went back to college last year to try and win a national championship. And he already would have been a top 15 pick last year. I think he only built on that this year. So I don't see him going at 19. I think he's definitely going to be a top 12 pick. But if he does make it to 19, run to the draft cycle, put your card in, and run right back. Like, be very happy that you got Jared Verse at 19. Because I think he's like, come in, start day 1, and be dominant day 1. Then at 51, I'm going to grab Tyler Nubin from Minnesota to be my free safety of the future. As much as I like Terrell Edmunds, I think Tyler Nubin is just a step above Terrell Edmunds. Most people's number one safety. I still like Cam Kitchens, but I do agree. I think Tyler Nubin has surpassed him as safety number one. He could work on run defending and securing his tackles, but when it comes to a ball hawk, when it comes to coverage, when it comes to everything but run defending, he's the best safety in this class. 5 interceptions as a ball hawk safety. You can't diss that. Him and Jordan Fuller would be really good as a safety pairing. I think they could just use a guy like Tyler Nubin at safety. Then at 83, one of my favorite round 2 corners in DJ James. Honestly, get him in the 3rd round. Don't think it's going to happen in real life. But he's one of my favorite 2nd round corners this year. He's good at press man, and he's good at zone. He could work on his run defense. Again, that's something that I think a lot of these guys in this draft need to work on, is run defense. But maybe that's just something that you learn more as you get more into the NFL and more weight on your body is run defense. He had 15 forced incompletions, which was 11th in college football. Sometimes he's too aggressive in coverage with the ball in the air. I think he led up 4 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. Maybe it was 5 touchdowns with 3 interceptions. So he gets aggressive sometimes. He gets burned because of that, because he's trying to pick the ball off and force an incompletion. Sometimes it's okay to let the guy catch the ball and immediately tackle him. But I do think that that's something you can coach in a guy, right? I like his intangibles. I like his size. Then in round 5, I grabbed Joshua Cephas from UTSA. Cephas is another slot screen guy for them. I think he'd be a really good option next to Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. He could be a replacement of Demarcus Robinson in this offense, because that's what Demarcus Robinson did. He played outside, but still played the role of a slot guy from the outside position. He's 6'3", 185. He's a big target, and in UTSA, he had 3,000 yards and 22 touchdowns the past 3 years. He's a great yards after the catch receiver. I think he just fits in the mold of what this offense wants. Then at 157, I grabbed Jaheim Bell from Florida State as well. Jaheim Bell, another receiving threat to add next to, what's their tight end's name? Tyler Higbee. That's his name, Tyler Higbee. He's 6'3", 240. He can develop his run blocking to be better in the future. But immediately, I think he can be that tight end number 2 with upside if he develops his run blocking to be the tight end number 1 in the future. But he's a great medium field threat. You know, that small to the small to intermediate field. I think Jaheim Bell could feast that with Tyler Higbee, which they already thrive at with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua. But I think Jaheim Bell is just another guy that you can rely on in that part of the field. Then at 191, I grab Edufwan Olofosio from Washington. I've been calling him Eddie Ulo because I think it's easier, but Ulo from Washington. He's one of my favorite linebackers in this class. I think he could be a future star in the middle of this defense. He doesn't really allow catches in his zone. He had 77 tackles against really good competition, was really good in the playoffs. He doesn't let the moments get too bright. He's going to come in, work his ass off, outwork anyone around him. He's the type of guy I think every defense wants as a coverage linebacker. But I think the Rams, like I said, they're great at drafting these late round guys, developing them into starters. I think Eddie Ulo is another one of those guys that you can expect to be a star in the future. Then at 214, another big body wide receiver that I'm falling in love with is Bryson Nesbitt from North Carolina. He's another great big body receiver. He's 6'5", 235. You need to get bigger on the outside. Obviously, you have Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, demolishing at their respective roles. But if you can get a big body outside receiver that play the traditional, run 15, 20 yards, jump ball receiver, I think Bryson Nesbitt is a really good receiver for that. He's a good deep threat receiver. He wins a 50-50 ball more than he loses it. I think Stafford would love him in the red zone. Again, I think we need to replace Demarcus Robinson in this offense, and Joshua Cephas and Bryson Nesbitt are the 2 guys I think can take that place and in situation have each guy on the field. Then in the 6th round as well, I'm grabbing another guy in Isaiah Davis from South Dakota State. Wow, this guy's electric, dude. Just a great running back behind Kyron Williams. He had 25 carries that were over 15 yards. That is 25 explosive runs, which I believe the lead in the NFL was around 24. So I think he actually had more explosive runs at South Dakota State than the NFL did out of one running back. He had nearly 1,000 yards after contact, which was 68% of his yards were after contact. 80 missed tackles forced. This guy doesn't go down easy. He's there bruise DBs. He's there run through your linebackers. You need 2 or 3 guys to tackle him and get him on the ground. I like his build. I like this guy in the 6th round. Him and Kyron Williams play really similar. So I think in rotation, you have Kyron Williams as a lead back, but Isaiah Davis can be that relief guy. Hey, exact same play, no matter who's in that running back position, we're getting 6 yards. And I think that's something they could really use in this offense. Then at 218, you guys know I had to do it. Roger Rosengarten. I have him in every single video now. He's my favorite late round offensive tackle in this class when it comes to 5th, 6th, and 7th round guys. It's Roger Rosengarten. He dominated at the Senior Bowl. All these guys I'm talking about in these mock drafts that went to the Senior Bowl could not beat Roger Rosengarten. And most of those guys are 2nd and 3rd round day picks. I think Roger Rosengarten is going to be one of the biggest surprises in his class when it comes to he's going to have a long career, a solid career, might get 2 or 3 contracts in the NFL. I think you guys are going to be surprised that when you can come back to this video in 2029, 2030, and you're going to come back and see that Roger Rosengarten is all over my mock draft. I think he's going to succeed. I believe he's going to succeed. I'm willing to bet on it. That's why he's in all my mock drafts. Then at 221, Steve Linton from Texas Tech. He's another pure pass rusher for this Rams defense. He's actually pretty bad at run defense, like historically bad. So he's really not usable on 1st or 2nd down. But in those like 3rd and long, 4th and long plays, Steve Linton can be on the field as a pure pass rusher. I think there is room for that in the NFL. Don't be shocked if he proves to be a prime rotation player in those minutes. Like for example, in the NBA, there are guys who come in only at the end of the 1st quarter, in the beginning of the 2nd quarter, end of 3rd quarter, end of beginning of 4th quarter, in relief of your star small forward, right? The guy rebounds well, and the guy passes really well, but he scores 3 points. For example, Matisse Thybulle, right? Doesn't shoot the ball, barely rebounds, but he gets so many steals and blocks that's what his niche is at. His niche. Steve Linton's niche could be 3rd and 4th down. You got to have a stop. Steve Linton comes in, applies pressure, or gets the sack. And in prime playoff moments, I could see Steve Linton being on the field in some of those moments. But yeah, that's my mock draft. I really love this mock draft. You have a starter in Jared Verse, a starter in Tyler Nubin, a starter in DJ James, rotation in Joshua Cephas, rotation Jaheim Bell, starter in the future in Eddie Ulo, a rotation guy in Bryson Nesbitt, a rotation guy in Isaiah Davis, a potential starter in Roger Rosengarten, and a rotation Steve Linton. All 10 picks are guys that I think can give quality minutes to you year 1, year 2, year 4 of their rookie contract. And I generally think Jared Verse, Tyler Nubin, Eddie Ulo, Roger Rosengarten, and maybe Isaiah Davis. Probably Steven Linton. 4 or 5 guys I could see earning 2nd contracts from the Rams already. But yeah, if you guys enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I honestly really like this rebuild. I basically doubled down on the offensive line where, I get Tyron Smith, I get Connor Williams, I re-sign Kevin Dotson, Steve Avila's already there, Rob Havenstein's already there. You build one of the best offensive lines in the football. You already got really good wide receivers, so you don't need to sign one. You draft really well, especially on the defensive side of the ball. You sign defensive guys like L'Jarius Sneed, Zach Cunningham. I love this mock draft. So I love the mock draft. I love the offseason plan. But if you guys enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you would have done differently. I'm really interested to see what other people think of these mock drafts. But if you did enjoy, please leave a like, comment, subscribe. I'll see you guys later. Peace and bye.